All right, let's move on to the so-called the final portion of what we want to talk about for our Premier League itself, which is the transfer season. Or it's a very weird thing for me. I'm not sure if you're used to this. I'm not used to transfers in terms of our.
Well, I mean, if you look at the English Premier League, there are transfers in January, or rather in mid-season.
Yeah.
So I think let's talk about, let's say, the basic objective of a mid-season transfer. Is in a very event where, say, in the first half of the season, you lost some of your players due to injuries or whatnot, or probably, say, disagreements inside the team itself, and then therefore you like a transfer, fresh legs, or brand new face that you like to have, and then that's where the mid-season transfer offers. But of course, that is not the point that we would like to debate. The debate is actually on a certain, or rather a team. Teams. Where mid-season transfer, they not only bring in new faces, but they basically just bring in new faces from elsewhere, and then after a few games, bye, gone.
Yep.
Yeah. So one certain team would be
Dallin.
Okay, would be actually Dallin, mainly the Dallin ladies side.
Yep.
Okay, so what happens during mid-season? I think about 3-4 games thereabouts. They had about is it a full one line? Leandro, is it a full one line?
Or is it? It's about half a line, right? Half.
Four.
More. One line of.
More or less like one line worth of. Oh, plus one goalie, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, plus one goalie. Yep.
Okay, so basically, literally just this one, more or less one line of Swedish ladies that came to play. So in that few games, right, they basically, I remember they beat Lito, they beat Prodigy, yeah, because I did kind of follow up a bit back then. So, and after a few games, bye, off they go, and then they are back to losing the games. they got relegated right at the end. They got relegated, right?
They got relegated.
Yeah, they got relegated.
Yeah. The Prodigy. The Twisters, right? Yeah.
Okay, so but nonetheless, I think the debate now is, does such mid-season transfer or transfers, coming in just to play a couple of games, actually Wonder Sticks men's also had a few.
Yeah,
they had a few as well.
Yeah.
All right. So does that? Okay. How do you see it?
I think I look at it at different angles. Pros and cons also. Positive side, I think like Leandro also agreed that they not only they bring in players, they will try to bring in certain aspects of, I won't say business, leveling up of the idea of leveling up also. Like they will come in do workshops, conduct sessions, even play tournaments apart from the Premier League with their respective teams, and even give attention to floorball in terms of the games that they play, the exhibition games. Remember the Stroveta Cup? Then they had an exhibition game with the Wonder Sticks teams, which, I mean, a lot of people went down to watch.
A lot of youngsters.
Youngsters. So,
the old birds, not so. But anyway, yeah. I actually do have my own NYP player in Wonder Sticks, so I actually did question him. So shout out to Aloy. On all my NYP boys will be like, yeah, Aloy is finally
mentioned.
Yeah.
Finally.
So anyway, Aloysius was he actually scored two goals. Oh my god, man! Perhaps he's still quite close to my heart, but he's got two goals over the weekend. But anyway, nonetheless, I did question him, like, hey, these guys coming in, and then you not playing, these couple of matches. Yeah. Correct? Good?
Yeah.
Justified? But I mean, his answer to me was he expected it. That he had to so-called fight his places, maybe some limited time, Then I just left that conversation
as it is.
Right? Because yes, it's not wrong for him to say it that way. But yeah, that's just a bit of insight. I'm not so sure whether he allowed me to say that, but yeah. So
it also affected our stats as well. Like the goal scoring stats as well. If you will
yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's a very interesting take on that also. I don't know. For me, coming from the outsider's perspective of, we look at Singapore sports in general. We can you can see we even especially the major sport, which is football. We try to bring in foreigners.
That's a debate being ongoing forever.
Importing foreigners and whatnot, and so many things. Go overseas, learn, or we bring people in, learn. and go out for experience, whatever. It's like a whole circle of situation, and it's been proven time and time again it's not working. Personally, I feel it's not working because, again, I will fall back to how we handle the pandemic. We didn't look elsewhere. We realized that the moment we look elsewhere, it's not working. We look to ourselves, and unfortunately, lives were lost during pandemic. But we really managed well as a country. So we actually have talent. We have talent within our country to manage all these situations. Especially, if we apply it in sports, maybe it might be unique. Look at Japan. Send players overseas, come back, play the Japanese way. This morning they beat Germany 4-1. Even though it's a friendly.
For the soccer,
for football,
fans, yeah.
So and the Japanese volleyball men's team are third in the world. And basketball also, right? Yeah, and it shows that we have to stick to our principles and what our identity or our culture is.
Unfortunately, we don't.
We don't have any.
Yeah, we don't. Just simply don't. I often tell people that for Singapore sports or if you want to look for any success in Singapore sports, don't look at team sports. Right. Sorry for the team sports in Singapore, but that's just somewhat unfortunate truth. So if you really want to look for success, be an individual athlete. We can literally
badminton, tennis, bowling,
correct.
It. Yep.
So those are the better chances because it's just them playing by themselves, right? So they have to really compete against theoretically themselves against the other competitors.
This is another debate about the sizes. Like we can talk about salary, everything, whatever. Again, teachers have been. I'm not saying for the teacher. I'm just saying that in general the classroom size. Big classroom size, they would prefer to have smaller classrooms size where more attention can be given to the students or whatnot. Same goes to coaching. Smaller size, more attention to the student-teacher ratio or the student-coach ratio or player-coach ratio. I think the attention will be better if it's, I wouldn't say it's smaller, but more focused or more number added on to our coaching fraternity.
But we don't practice it here.
We don't.
So I mean, given that I did say something that's a bit more academic. So I was actually a former SMU student. So one of the key factors for me back then on why I wanted to join SMU as a student was they actually preach a lot on small class size.
Yeah.
So that was the key. I managed to go in, and indeed Salah, because I actually managed to get my entrance in, and then I had to go and serve my NS for 2 years. And then I still deferred 1 more year to go and work. So by the time I actually entered in, I realized that this so-called small class size
doesn't exist anymore.
That doesn't exist. Yeah, so in the end, they more or less reverted back to the supposedly older way of doing it. Yeah, they want big size, class. Maybe economics is a factor. The amount of lecturers available versus the amount of students they need to take care.
Yep. But really, I feel that we need a culture. We need to build a culture, not only for, within our control, it's our teams, our floorball, and like I told you, I think I talked about it, how it took us 5 years to build a culture, 4 to 5 years to build a culture before we even touch anything at all. When we reached the top 4, and when you look at the list of players that we had, I mean, in my school, the players were not from, we only had like 2 DSAs or something like that, along the way. And, it's a culture. It's been proven in the sports team in my school, where culture is very important, even though it takes, and the trust of my boss, which is the HOD of PE. And slowly we built a proper culture, and so far, I think we're blessed. I think other schools also agree that we're quite blessed to be in the top 4 in the NSG for B division for 2 years running. Hopefully more, but we don't know if there are difficulties going on and whatnot. But again, culture plays a very, very big
bringing
part.
back to this mid transfer thing, especially from I'll just categorize it as foreign imports like coming in, play, then thanks, bye. So does that helps in terms of the culture?
Yep.
Does that help in terms of the blending of them, in between your lines? Because let's say you have this so-called star forward that you bring in halfway, and then how do they then blend into a certain line? And then once you insert him into a certain line, it means that you're actually bringing someone out of that line, and then he's being benched or he's being switched to another line. And then so at times, people that sees the game in a more simplistic way, they will say, oh yeah, these are 5 good players. Oh, sorry, Chelsea.
Oh.
Right? We can.
Oh.
I think those again in
Natasha, you're watching, right?
Okay, so it doesn't mean that you spend millions, you buy like 11 players, 5 players, let's say in the floorball context, or you get 5 good players, and then they can gel up like just in a snap of a finger. It doesn't really work that way. If I'm a Liverpool supporter, so if you hear how Jurgen Klopp talks about it when he buys a new player, in the past, of course, not in this season because almost about 6-7 midfielders that this gone. So, but if not in the past, new midfielders or new defenders, whoever that he brought in, he usually give them time, 2 months, 3 months. He wants to observe, let them be at ease. And again, you talk about culture. So I actually love how Liverpool build their culture, right? So that is also how I hope to build in terms of culture in my teams as well. So I usually tell my players that I want them to be bonded. I mean, if whether winning or losing in games, I want people to be able to identify that our teams are the best bonded team then or even across the whole tournament.
Exactly.
So I've said it in my own trainings, closed door. I'm going to say it also openly as well. Yep. So it's a bit of the pros, a bit of cons in terms of how this topic is at play.
So SFA, let's try to build a proper culture for the floorball community.
Okay, so I mean, I'm not so sure what can SFA do about it.
It's everyone actually. Everyone must be together. Even if we disagree with each other with a lot of things, there must be something that we agree upon to build a culture. Like how they built Singapore, they force people to live together. Like the population of 80% Chinese in an estate with the Malays, the minorities and whatnot. They force us to live together, go to the same school and whatnot, and eventually we grow together. Even though they say it's forced, but it helped. So there must be something from an association stand. I'm not saying that they're not doing a good job. I think they're doing the best that they could. We try to support them as much as we can. Of course, not everything we will see as positive, because we have our own opinions, and we come from different backgrounds, and we may have ideas, and other people may have ideas. But at the end of the day, like I said, I think we need to support each other, especially focus on our players. As adults, as coaches. Sometimes it gets to us that we are trying to push our agenda out there. Then we forget about our players and we make them decide. It's quite sad, to be honest. Even personally, sometimes I have to always reflect and apologize to my players when it happens, because I think it's important that they are here, they're sacrificing their time. Even we are sacrificing our time, but the culture, it needs to be there. There must be something from top down. Definitely from the bottom up must be built, but the top down must be in control of certain things. You know what I mean?
Yep, agree. It takes a lot of hands to clap actually in this small mini topic that we just.
So after game, everyone high five, a lot of hands clap, right? Okay, I know it's lame. Okay, okay, Leandro. So we're done with this topic. Anything you want us to talk about, especially the coaching aspect? Because it's like I'm not sure if they are still watching. Hi, if you're still watching, thank you for staying. Yeah. Any coaching topic that will be interesting that you want to ask us or you want to bring up? Anything that?
You ask them. So if they have any ideas that you
want
questions.
Actually, we will try to put on the IG. Do you think we should put on IG if they have questions and whatnot? We will try to think of something. Even if you have something in the comment section, you can just ask us.
So basically, please have more interaction with us. So do drop in any comments in terms of questions.
Yep.
Whether you have questions for us or any one of us.
Who else do you want to see?
Or who else you want to see in the podcast?
Dangerous, controversial. I don't know. I'm just saying.
You can just put it in the comments whether we call them or don't call them, or they are willing to be, or whether they are willing to pop up, in the podcast. Different. Different matter. But yeah, do insert your own point of view, so that this podcast can be a lot more lively. Also comments on how we talk about certain topics. Actually, on the back end, I do share that are we a bit too reserved in terms of how we share things? Because being Singapore, everyone is a bit kiasu, scared of this, scared of that. Or should we be a lot more open, like certain YouTubers where they just trash things out saying that you are trash, without probably any backups. But yeah, so this is just maybe something else to add on.
Especially Coach Desmond has his own YouTube account, and that Floorball Basics, you guys will know by now. Like, if you have any coaching questions, or let's say you have, if your students, be it university, be it poly, tertiaries, or schools, that you want to find out how we train or what we do to reach certain level or certain expectation, I mean, drop in the comment. We will try to.
Yeah, but there's I mean, since he just said about it, there's something that, you know, when players come to ask me about a question after, say, a training session or workout, there's this one question that that always irritates me. So now I'm gonna ask you, let's say for example, and then I'm just gonna see how you react. So I'm your player, okay? And then after training done, you done your debrief, then I come to you, hey, Coach Abbas, coach, how can I improve?
A very common question.
Common question, right?
Okay.
So
I will throw back the question.
okay, how will you do it?
So, if a student asks me that, how can I improve?
Yeah.
What didn't you do well today?
Carry on. How?
So if you answer,
Oh, you
if
mean I have to answer them?
If you say you don't
you're
know,
almost doing a
if
skit
you-
right now, is it?
So if you say you don't know,
I don't know. Like, that's why I come and ask you.
then why are you training today?
Uh,
So you need to find a focus, right, for training.
okay.
Yeah.
Focus on what?
Exactly. Find out what your weak out. You go look at your own videos, because we record our training session. Find out what's wrong. You come back to me.
Then if I don't record as the coach, then how?
Then BDF is coming soon.
Okay, so you play a bit of mindset also lah. But okay, for me when
I know you
players
get irritated. Yeah,
come to
go,
me,
go.
I'll be irritated. I'll be like, I've nothing to say. Because if I have some, so I would just say, if I have
Okay.
something that I wanted to tell you,
Ouch.
I would have gone to you and say a specific something that you did right, wrong, blah 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 blah. Or I would say another way, probably in a kind of way. Can you be a little bit more specific?
Okay.
Because it's just too wide, just too general.
Yep.
Right?
True.
I can't be just coming to you and just say, okay, you need to improve this. So I think very similar to what you just said, focus. So for me, it's specific. So it's very much similar. Like, what exactly do you want to improve at this point of time? And improvement actually takes time. So I also tell my players that I do have the patience. Right? As I get older, my patience level gets better. I do have the patience to wait for you. But do you have the patience to actually take one step at a time, go and improve one thing at a time? It can be just your wrist shot sucks, right? Then how can you, and even shooting is a whole spectrum, because you can talk about
exactly,
contact of the
correct.
blade, your follow through,
Position of the
your
ball, where
position
you
of
may-
your
yeah.
stick.
Yeah.
You say ball, I say position of your feet,
Feet. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Activation of your hips, core,
Everything. Yep.
Yeah. So if you just want to target, just target at one specific point. Then once you get it right, move on. Once you get it right, move on. Once it becomes a habit, it's a habit already. Then it's pretty hard to change. But of course, if your habit is bad, then the process gets a bit longer.
Bad habits. Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna raise, but the thing is, sometimes they don't know what they don't know.
They don't know what they don't know because they don't know what to look at, or for awareness. Yeah. So
I have an answer, but you carry on.
okay, so for me, it's very simple. Where we believe in this game concept, or those who's teaching in MOE, or your students in RP for sports, diploma in sports coaching. There's this thing called GCA, game concept approach. So where you play games and you discover what is lacking. Instead of we do drills and you discover that you're not good at drills. So we play a game, you realize that, hey, teacher or coach, I cannot run. Then you know what's wrong. Stamina is not there, speed is not there. Coach, I cannot shoot. Then you know what's wrong, and from there, why are you not scoring? Oh, it means I cannot shoot. So you discover focus through game. So and they will realize that I need this during game. I need this to play well. If I don't play well, I won't enjoy the game. So that's the cycle itself. So for me personally, or how we do it in our school. Yeah.
So I think what he just explained is the finding out factor. So but once you find out, then I think I'll try to come in terms of how can you then work on it. So again, it can be a simple example of how can I work on, again, wrist shot, because I've been talking about wrist shot lately. So how can I work on my wrist shots? But then of course wrist shots, again, you when you talk about in the game, everything is flowing.
Yes.
Right? And wrist shot is quick. It's a quick release shot. It takes in a split second, and so therefore you need to be ready in that moment. But if you are so how I do it is I'll try to break it down right to the very simple basic step. It can be just you, yourself, and the ball against the wall. Ball not moving, and then you do this for a straight 5 minutes. Then the next step might be, then now you put an extra target, try to aim the target the next time round as you improve. Say example, before that your contact of the ball with your blade, then now next will be working on accuracy. So what I sometimes explain is like trying to build up a cake, or you trying to bake
like
a cake.
Scaffolding.
Scaffolding,
Cooking,
layering. So first
that.
have a nice baseline.
Yep.
And then after that you put in the next layer, next layer. Then hopefully as you move forward in terms of the training drills, of course depends on how coaches scale it or layer it. Then once you come into the games, hopefully you can apply. And then like I said, that's where some players, they don't know what they don't know, because they just play, and then there's too many things in their mind, like I cannot do this, I cannot do that, I cannot do this, I can do that. Again, back down to being more specific and focused.
I think that's one big factor as well, Leandro. There's this thing about which I'm very particular about is how we get to where we are is actually through failures. A lot of failures. We got whacked like double digit, like close to 20-0 and whatnot. So we learn from our failures, and we must, at this stage, even though we've reached a certain level, for me, I will still always have this mindset of I'm not afraid of failure. I'm willing to fail if my players are not training well, if they are not reaching certain expectations. And this is me personally as a coach. I always say I'm willing to lose. I'm willing to fail for you guys to learn. So even if let's say next year's BD, for example, if we don't do well, we don't go to second round, whatever it is, but they executed every single instructions I give, or every single way we want to play our identity, I'll be very happy. I'll be genuinely very happy, because they are doing what I'm telling them, and the error will be on me. Means I didn't do much homework on my opponents or whatever it is, but happy because they are teachable, they are coachable, they know what to execute, and they are doing their best to execute. So being ready to fail, for me, I think it's a very key factor for a lot of players, that they need to learn. It's okay to fail, but you don't stay there. You grow from failures. Yeah.
I sometimes tell certain coaches or even players themselves that I actually prefer them to fail. Yeah, because the more they fail, the more they are needed to stand their feet back up.
Correct.
Right, and to realize what went wrong, right? Because some players, they don't know what they don't know. So if, especially at the youth level, and youth level to me, categorically speaking, is not just primary school and secondary school. It also includes my tertiary boys as well. Because just the session that I went with them, I did with them, I literally they said that. I said, you guys are not pros. You do not have the sports scientists, you don't have the pro equipment, whatnot. I say you guys are still, in my opinion, like youth level. So you still have to do your due diligence to learn how you can prepare yourself individually. Then so that collectively, then we come to play, and when we come to play, I'm like more than okay to fail, because before competition preparation, or rather during preparation phase, I rather we fail, or so-called lose or struggle during friendlies, so that we can then sort that out, in hope that during competition itself, we are at the best, or at best prepared we can be.
That's a whole topic about it.
Try not to go too much, but yeah.
Okay. With that, Leandro, we all good? Okay. With that, I think we can wrap up the session. Next week we'll still have Sunik. They'll be ongoing on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and of course our semi-finals. Please don't miss it, please. I think we had a good crowd today. Amazing, and of course Sunik. Our tertiary games, always amazing crowds.
I was saying
amazing.
Like tertiary games are, whether is it Polite, Sunik, they are damn intense.
It's intense.
Yeah,
it's
in my opinion, the most intense, even sometimes
we should focus on
compared
that.
to the league.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like, wow, I'm seated there. I'm like, I'm involved. Like I somehow feel that wow, there's something going on here. But actually, I'm just there just to watch a game. It's amazing, especially with people who don't know floorball. They want to come down and just to watch floorball, and they're like, wow. To floorballers or coaches, we're like, no, that shouldn't be. But they were like, wow, they're impressed with your skills and whatnot. So please support our Sunik and our tertiary games, our Polite, coming up in November, and of course our semi-finals, which will be a very very interesting round of games that will be left to play. All right. With that, thank you everyone, and have a very good week ahead.
Bye.